There are so many great animes out there, but there's few in history that are as influential and as special as Cowboy Bebop. It's truly emerged at a time when anime was still trying to find its footing globally, and it completely shifted the way people see anime worldwide, but especially in the US. The show has not only captivated audiences, but redefined what anime could do in many ways. This show wasn't just a story about bounty hunters in space. It was much, much deeper than that. But what really made this show so special? Most anime fans even consider it a must-watch, with some even considering it the greatest anime of all time. Let's dive into exactly what captivated and still captivates anime fans everywhere. To get into why this show was so special, I think we have to first delve into how it was created. Cowboy Bebop was actually created because Bandai Toys wanted to sell more toy spaceships, and they hired this guy, Watanabe. And they gave him full creative freedom as long as there was quote-unquote a spaceship in it. And after Watanabe had some of the show completed, it was shown to the people at Bandai Toys, and they decided that the show would quote-unquote never sell spaceships. So they eventually decided to not be a part of Cowboy Bebop anymore, and all seemed somewhat hopeless. Then another division of Bandai, Bandai Visual, decided to pick up the show. Sadly, this would not be the end of the struggles for the development of this show. Another struggle for Cowboy Bebop originally is that the people for the original airing on Tokyo TV had decided the show to be too violent and too sexually explicit, bringing its original Tokyo TV run to an end at just 12 episodes. And they ended up having to end it with basically a montage of moments all boiled into one episode, but did leave the audience with the message that it in fact wasn't the true ending. All hope seemed lost for just a second, but it was thankfully brought back due to another channel known as WoWow, bringing Cowboy Bebop back for airing during nighttime hours. And a few years later, Cowboy Bebop debuted on September 2nd, 2001 on Adult Swim, bringing a whole new life to the show, as it became one of the biggest anime in the West at the time, which definitely has something to do with the fact that they played it over and over and over again. The reasons being, apparently the people at Adult Swim were in love with the show, and I can't even blame them. I mean, who can? But nonetheless, this show being played so many times across the span of years gave so many a first introduction to this show. If you're wondering what really made this show just so special, I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the style. It's got such a distinct style. The whole show is just coated in. The space exploration intertwined with the jazz melodies. The music was composed by Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts, and it really is just amazing. I can't even imagine how different the show would be without the music. I mean, you're thrown into just how great the sound of this show is from the opening alone. It really helps give the show the Cowboy Bebop vibe that obviously only this show has. Its animation is also amazing, with its many fluid fight scenes, great very original character designs. Oh, and the show also has lovable characters who all have their own struggles and each have terrific writing to them to flesh them out. Another thing that really makes this show special is in the beginning the show was almost sort of carefree fun, but eventually the show begins to show its true colors, and those colors are much deeper than anyone first anticipated. Each episode truly fleshing out each character more and more, showing just what each one struggles with such amazing depth, especially for a show back then. It truly made this show stick out. All of that helps give it a distinct style. Each little thing about the show making it stick out more and more. In the US, it was an introduction into anime for many fans, and had great localization, with probably the best dub of all time, which many consider even better than the sub. So it also was a huge part of the US's adult animation movement, and proving that animation wasn't just an art form for kids. It really had an impact on the anime genre and on things outside of it. You still see the influence of this show in many things throughout pop culture. That's how much of a cultural phenomenon it really was. Whilst there are many great things about the show that I could go on and on about, showing just how special the show really was and still is, I think that the characters in the show really are the main driving force. Spike, Jet, Faye, Ed, and Ein. Cowboy Bebop is a show truly driven by its characters, with each character being compelling in their own special way. But I think the character who best showcases why this show really was special is Spike Spiegel. Spike Spiegel is almost like an embodiment of the style of the show. Much like the show, you presume him to be a carefree man, not worrying about much. But the show fleshes him out and reveals just who he truly is. And he's certainly not as carefree as you'd previously conceived him to be. Spike is a really cool character, but he's also an embodiment of what's to come in the show, constantly reminding us of what's to come, and for him, what has already passed. Spike can't let go of his past. He carries his baggage throughout the whole show, unable to let go of what has already happened to him. He is unable to move on because of his love for Julia. He really never opens himself up to the people around him, just due to the trauma of his past love. So, he is never really living in the present. He consistently looks for the most dangerous jobs because it's the only way he ever really feels a little alive in the present. Spike is simply perpetually stuck because he doesn't ever allow himself to truly be invested in the people around him or even in the things going on around him. But that doesn't mean he doesn't care exactly about the people around him. He really does care about Jet, Faye, Ed, and Ein, but he's too invested in his past to truly be there for them. And the last time we see Spike, we see him finally able to move past everything that's been bothering him, at the cost of his own life. This show has reached millions around the world because of its jazzy tunes, great animation, deep characters, and I'd say a little bit of luck. In the anime genre, its distinctiveness remains unparalleled among many animes for so many great reasons. It ranks so high on many people's lists, and I really don't think the anime genre nor pop culture would be the same without this amazing show. Cowboy Bebop really was, and still is, a special show.